Hey guys, this lesson we are going to talk about account statements, which is also like an invoice. And so we're just going to go through a whole bunch of examples of different types of invoices and account statements. Okay, so let's get started. So here we can see that this is an invoice from a shop called, or a place called Ivy Supermarket, and they are sending an invoice. Now, remember, we've looked at till slips and receipts. That's a totally different thing. A till slip or receipt is something that you get after you've paid. It just tells you this is what you purchased and this is what you paid. But an invoice or an account statement is when you need to pay money. So you see here, it says here total due, okay? And then what they do is, so this is the person that they are sending it to, okay? So this is the person receiving the invoice, person receiving invoice. So just pretend that's you. So your name is Michael, and this shop called Ivy Supermarket, they are sending you an invoice because you owe them some money. They're giving you this on the 5th of May. That is when they're giving you the invoice, and they would like you to pay by the 31st of May. So they give you a little bit of time before you have to make a payment, and this billing period was for April. So what happened was that in April, in the month of April, you maybe made a few purchases or something like that, and you haven't paid yet, okay? So now, at the end of April, or on the 5th of May, they are sending you the invoice telling you what you did in April, okay? And then they would like you to pay it by the 31st of May. So let's see what happened. On the 4th of April, so you see, remember, they're telling you what happened over here. So on the 4th of April, so early on in April, your account has 623 Rand. That means you owe the people 623 Rand. Remember, a positive number for these account statements means that is how much you owe the shop. You owe Ivy Supermarket. Okay? So you owe, on the 4th of April, you owe them 623 Rand. Then if we go to the 5th of April, you can see that this person purchased food, but they never paid. So how much was it? 341 Rand. But they haven't paid for it yet, okay? Some shops, they give you like a special little card, and you don't have to pay for it immediately, so you can buy it on credit, okay? So if Michael owes them 623 Rand, then after the 5th of April, he's now going to owe them more, okay? So if you take this number plus this number, then it'll give you this number, okay? Then what happened on the 8th of April is Michael made a payment into the account. So he's wanting to try and make this number become less because he doesn't want to owe the shop money. So he pays them 623 Rand. So you can see that the amount that he now owes has gone down again. So have a look here. This is how much money he owed the shop. Then he made a payment into his account because he's trying to pay his account off, and now the amount that he owes is less. So he's happy now because now Michael, he doesn't owe as much money. Then on the 12th of April, he makes another purchase. So now he owes more money again. So this number plus this number will give you that number. Okay, so now he owes them this much, and then he makes another purchase on the 25th of April for that amount. And so the total that he now owes is this one plus this one, which means he now owes them that amount. And so at the end of April, that is what Michael owes. And so you can see that they've added the amount over there. And that amount already includes the VAT. Okay, it already includes the VAT. If you wanted to calculate the VAT, you can use that formula that I've showed you before. Okay, and here's the banking details so that when Michael wants to pay this amount, then he can just use an EFT or something like that. So here's our next example. So this is one from Vodacom. It's a cell phone shop. And let's see. So they're sending it to this person. So let's pretend this is you. Your name is Sophia, and you have a Vodacom account. Okay. Now, this statement was given to you on the 3rd of November 2019, and so this is the 11th month. This is November. Okay, so what they're saying over here is the balance brought forward. This is almost like your opening balance, okay? Almost like what we saw over here, opening balance. Okay, so that means that on the 4th of October, Sophia already owes Vodacom 1,179 Rand. Then he made a payment on the 21st of October, and that he paid 1,179 Rand, so he now owes them 0. Okay, he owes them 0. But now we're in the brand new month where they now invoicing him. So now he this is the amount that he owes, and so that is why that's the amount that he currently needs to pay them. Okay, let me just explain that again. On the 4th of October, this is how much he owes them. Then he made a payment so that he could pay all of that off, and so now he owes Vodacom 0. But then for the brand new month, for November, you can see that they're invoicing him for 1,393 Rand, and so that's what he now owes. Okay? If he did not pay this amount over here, then he would have owed even more money. He would have owed this amount and this amount. Okay? But luckily, he made a payment, and so he doesn't owe them as much. Here's our next example. So this one is for Mr. Lechodi. So let's pretend you are Mr. Lechodi. And this is your Trueworths statement, okay? And you're receiving this on 10 July. And, okay, so let's have a look. Many shops in South Africa, all around the world, but I'm going to talk about South Africa. So you've got your Edgars, Woolworths, Foschini, all of these shops. They will give you, if you qualify, okay, so you have to qualify, they'll give you a card. Maybe you've got family members who've used one, or you've got one, but they'll give you a special card. And that card comes with money on it, okay? So it comes with a certain amount of money, and that is called your account limit, okay? And let's say it's 1,000 Rand. We can see that here for Mr. Lechodi, it's also 1,000 Rand. So that means Mr. Lechodi is allowed to spend 1,000 Rand. But he will have to pay that 1,000 Rand back, and he will actually have to pay more than 1,000 Rand back because of things like interest and all of that. Okay, that's how these shops make money, is by telling you that you can use the 1,000 Rand, but then you have to pay it back with interest. Okay, sometimes you don't have to pay interest for the first few months, like we see over here. Okay, so let's see what happens. Mr. Lechodi has a card for 1,000 Rand, but let's see what happened here. So the balance brought forward. Okay, so this is your opening balance. So this is how much money he has. This is how much money he owes. So he's already used 139 Rand. 0.91. Okay, so if you think about it, he had a 1,000 Rand card in the very beginning. He had a 1,000 Rand card. Okay, now out of that 1,000 Rand, he already used 139 Rand and 91 cents. That's how much he used. Okay, and then remember, the total card is 1,000. So how much would be available? If we say 1,000 minus that number, then that's how much is available, 860.09. But that was when this statement was opened. That's not how much he has available right now. So let's see what happened. So what happened was he then made a payment. Okay, that's a good thing. When someone makes a payment, it means that they're trying to decrease this amount over here. Okay, they're trying to decrease that amount over there so that they can get back to the 1,000. Okay, because if he can get back to the 1,000, then that means he doesn't owe the shop any money. Okay, so what he does here is he makes a payment of 120. So that means this number is going to become less now. So if you say 139 minus 120, then it's going to be 19 Rand 91. Okay, so that's how much he has now used, 19 Rand and 91. Okay, and so what they're saying is that and then this number here would become 980.09. So what they're saying is that he still owes them 19 Rand and 91 cents, okay, because this was in June, this is now in July. And so here you can see at the top, they said that your account was 1,000 Rand, but because you still owe us, let's say this is 20 Rand, sometimes they round it off, so you still owe us 20 Rand, so you can still buy for 980 Rand, and that's where we're saying 980 and 20 if they're rounding up. Okay, all right, here's a municipality bill. So let's see how this one goes. So we've got, this is for Mrs. Gwai. So let's pretend you are Mrs. Gwai and you receive an invoice from the city of Cape Town. Okay, it's the city of Cape Town. Now, let's see. They tell us that this is, okay, so you receive this on the 23rd of August and your payment must be made on the 19th of September. Okay, so this is your account balance. This is your opening balance. And that is, remember, that is the money that you owe. Opening balance. It's the money that Mrs. Gwai, she owes. But that's not how much she owes now. That's the previous account balance. So that's before all of these numbers. Okay, so that's how much she owes. Then she made a payment. Can you see here? It says here, minus the payment, and then they even said thank you because she's paying back her account. Okay, so she owes them 2,032.67. Then she made a payment of 349.67. So if you work that out, she now owes them 1,683 rand. Okay, that's how much she owes them over there. And then she gets charged 393 rand and 72. So maybe that's for this account. Okay, so now she owes them 1,683. Now if we add that amount on, then what you'll see is that she now owes them 2,076 and 72. And so that is what the total invoice is. Okay, so she originally owes them this much. Then she made a payment, and so the amount that she owes them is less. But then they charged her for the new month, and so now they added these two together, and so now this is the total that she owes for this month. Okay, here's a Telecom invoice for Mrs. Toulon, or Toulon. So Mrs. Toulon, let's quickly see. So her opening balance is 2,372 rand and 79 cents. So that is what she owes them, 2,372.79. That is how much she owes. But that was the previous opening balance. Okay, now let's see what happened. It says opening balance is that amount over there. Then it says this invoice, and here we can see this invoice is now charging her an extra 214 rand. So this was the opening balance. So this is how much she already owes them, and now they're going to add more money that she owes them. And so if you add these two numbers together, that'll give you the total that she now owes them. Okay, now they said this invoice is 214 rand. So let's see how they calculated the 214 and 44. They said that 155 rand is because of the rental. Okay, and then that gave a subtotal, and then there's VAT, and then there's also interest. Remember, some companies, if you don't pay them their money back, they're going to charge you interest. So because she hasn't paid this money back, they're going to charge her interest. Okay, and so if you add this number, and this number together, you end up with that. And so that's just they summarizing how they got that number. And so now let's see what she owes in total. So she's overdue by that amount over there. That was her original amount. She hasn't paid it yet, so they're getting a little bit angry with her. And now for the new invoice, for this new one, see it's previous invoice and then this invoice. So for this invoice, she now owes them that much. So now she owes them that plus that, and so this is the total amount that she owes them all together. Okay, and you can see that this is, they would like her to pay this amount immediately because she's behind, but then this 214 rand, she can pay it by the 26th of June. Okay, so they gave her this invoice on the 4th of June, and she can pay it by the 26th of June. But this amount over here, they would like her to pay that immediately because she's late. Okay, Edgar's for Miss Dube. So let's have a look. So we always look at the opening balance. The opening balance is 692 rand. That is how much she owes. Okay, that's how much she owes. She owes Edgar's. Okay, then she makes a payment. Remember, a payment is a good thing because that is Miss Dube trying to pay back her loan. So it started as 692, then she pays back 240 rand, and so now if you say 692 minus 240, then this is how much she now owes. Okay, so she now owes, but then she goes and she makes some purchases. So she went and she bought some nice clothes for 99 Rand. So if you take this amount and you add 99 Rand, now she owes them 552 Rand. And then she makes another purchase of 190 Rand. And so if you take this number and you add it to that number, then this is how much she currently owes them. And so the new amount that she owes them is there. You can see it over there. Now, something interesting that I would like to show you is that, remember in one of the previous examples I showed you that this person has a 1,000 Rand account limit. Now, I want to show you something with Miss Doobie from Edgar's, or at Edgar's. She has a credit limit of 4,049 Rand. So she's allowed to spend a total of 4,049 Rand. Okay? But let's see what happened here. She already owes them 742. Okay, so she's already used 742 of the 4,049. So how much money is she still allowed to spend before her card won't work anymore? Well, if you minus these two numbers, you end up with 3,307. So she can still go spend another 3,307 Rand. Okay, so they're telling her that she owes this much. But they're not that angry with her. Like, she's allowed to go all the way up to 4,049. She can make this number go all the way up to 4,049. And so they're telling her that she can still spend another 3,307. Okay? All right, two more examples. Now, I know that these, some of the writing here is not the most clear, but the numbers aren't important, like what the numbers are. I just want you to follow, okay? So I'll do my best to try and make sure that you can see it. So this is on the 12th of September. And this is for, let's just say, Jane. Okay, Jane. Now, Jane's opening balance was 4,318 Rand, and I'll write it a bit better for you, 4,318.33. So that is how much money Jane owes them as the opening balance. That's not the new amount. We can see that the new amount is over here. So these numbers are going to help us to understand how did we go from here for the opening balance to the closing balance of that amount over there. Because that is the amount that she owes them. Okay, so let's see. First of all, she went and purchased some food. Okay, so that was 302 Rand. So, okay, they haven't added all the nice numbers here for us. So if we go add 302 Rand.03, then she purchased some more food for 171. So let's add more money. She owes more money now. Then she did another purchase of 152 Rand and 15 cents. Then she made another purchase of 279 Rand and 67. Then she made another purchase of 55 Rand. Yo, this lady's doing some purchases, I'll tell you. And then she made a payment. So that means we can minus, because now she's paying the money back to Woolworths, so she owes them less. How much did she pay? 400 Rand, and then she got charged interest. So that means she owes them even more money because of interest. When these places charge you interest, it means you owe them even more. Okay? Now if you had to go add all of this together, we get exactly this gives us exactly 4949.47, and that's what we can see over there. Okay, so let's have a look now. Her original credit limit was 5,200, so 5,200 was her original credit limit. She owes them 4,949, so she's used almost all of her credit. Okay, so she's used 4,949.47 has been used. So how much money does she still have available? Okay, well, if you minus these two numbers, you get about 251 Rand. Sometimes they just like to round it off. So can you see that her credit available is 251 Rand? So they're telling her, Jane, this is how much you owe us, but you could still spend another 251 if you want to, because we are letting you go all the way to 5,200. Okay? And then, okay, so that's how much she owes them now, and she doesn't have to pay all of it at once. That's the nice thing about these places. They don't expect you to pay all of it at once. However, the longer you take, the more interest they're going to give you. So they're telling her here that the minimum payment that she needs to make is 371 Rand. Okay? So the minimum she must pay towards this is 371, but she should try pay as much as she can to try make this number become less, okay, so that she doesn't owe them as much money. One more example. So this is a person's bank statement, okay, so whenever there's a positive now it's a good thing. Remember, when you're looking at these account statements, a positive is not good. It means that you owe them money. But when you're looking at a bank statement, like your own bank statement, maybe you've got a bank account and you look at your app on your phone, when you see a positive like this, that's a good thing. When you see a positive on these ones, then that's not so good. You rather want to try and make those become negatives, because when it's a negative, it means that you are paying the money back. Well, sometimes they don't make it a negative, but yeah, I hope you see the difference, right? When your bank statement is positive like this, that's a good thing. Okay, so let's see what happens here. This is Mr. Samkelo. So this is for January 2021, and this is the Vryheid branch. Okay, so on the opening balance, the 1st of January 2021, Samkelo has this amount of money over here. Okay, then he makes a deposit into his account, and that deposit is 1,000 rand. Okay, so then, but then they also charged him a fee. You know, like when you go to the bank, sometimes they charge you a little bit of a fee. Okay, so if you take this amount of money, 12,783.56, then they add 1,000 rand because he put money into his account. You know, sometimes you take cash and you put it into the ATM. So he puts 1,000 rand, but then they're charging him a 15 rand fee. So we need to say minus 15, because that he's gonna pay that 15 rand. Okay. So if you go add those together, then you end up with this number over here. Okay. Then he makes a payment. Okay. So you see a debit. So his money is going down. So this is going down, and he pays a fee. So it's going to be 13,768.56 minus 876.45. By the way, this is just for the rand, and this is just for the cents. And then they also charge him a 2.50 rand fee, so 2.50. Okay, and if you had to work that out, you end up with 12,889.61. Okay, 12,889.61. And then he makes another payment to someone called Andile. So he minuses another 2,000 rand. So if we minus another 2,000, and he has to pay a little bit of a fee. Okay, so he has to minus that as well. And if you do that, you end up with 10,887.11. Then he makes another purchase. So he has to minus 125.60. And he pays a 1 rand fee. 1 rand. And so let's see what he now has. Okay, so he now has 10,760 rand and 51 cents. And then he makes a payment to Londiwe, and he has to pay another fee of 2 rand 50. So that's minus 2,600 minus 2 rand 50. And so he now has 8,158 rand and 1 cent over here. And then he gets his salary. So you see he's earning money when you get a salary, so it goes into the credit column. So he's getting a positive 11,560 over there. So if you say 8158.01 plus 11,560, you end up with 19,718 rand and 1 cent. And that's where we can see he has his final balance at the end of January.